Dallas Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush has taken the NFL by storm. Since taking over for the injured Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush has led the Cowboys to a 4-1 record, beating the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams and the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Despite the hot start, however, Prescott is scheduled to come back in 2 weeks, and the Rush saga may very well be over. Is the Cowboys' hot start due to Cooper Rush's play, or is it due to the surrounding cast? I'll be attempting to answer the question, is Cooper Rush a good NFL quarterback? And if he is a good quarterback, should he get an opportunity to be a full-time starter somewhere else in the NFL? So Cooper Rush is a very weird player in that we've only seen him start a couple of games so far this year, and there's already seeming to be some big opinions about him. I think in some ways we should be looking at him as more of a quarterback prospect. He's only made now 5 starts, and he came in at the end of week 1 for the injured Dak Prescott. I'm not going to put that much stock into it. So I went back and watched all the games that Cooper Rush has played, and I'm going to stick mainly to his game versus the Bengals and versus the Commanders. I think these are the two best representations of what Cooper Rush is. Something that we talk about with quarterbacks very often is their win-loss record and how impactful that they are in that front. Now, while the Cowboys have won a good amount of games with Cooper Rush, I don't necessarily think that they've won the games because of him. That's not to say that he isn't a factor in them winning. He's certainly not hurting them. But just judging his individual performance, if you were to ask me what do you think his win-loss record would be, I certainly would not have answered 4-0. So we're going to start here with the Cincinnati Bengals game. This was a game where they opened the game up and scored 2 opening drive touchdowns, and they started out, they were winning the game 14-3. Now, after that, they didn't really do much in the game, and this is kind of a common theme that I've noticed with Cooper Rush, and I think it has to do more with the Cowboys' offensive scheme. A lot of the times, NFL teams will scheme their opening about 20 plays, which ends up being about 2 drives, potentially more than that. And so whenever I watch quarterbacks, I normally don't put too much stock in their opening couple of drives because, again, a lot of times those are scripted. And while you can still evaluate what you see in front of you, it's not exactly a true representation of what these players can do outside of structure. And if you look good in your opening 2 drives and don't look good the rest of the game, that tells me a lot about you. With that being said, he did look really, really good in structure. And I don't think, this can be said for a lot of the games, I don't think he does that much outside of structure. And I think his biggest flaw is his accuracy. Now, this is something that if you watch Cooper Rush, it's pretty unavoidable to just not recognize because I really think he's inaccurate. And this is not a mild criticism. Like, there are a lot of throws in every game that I'm very surprised that he misses. It's not these deep ball throws. It's easy underneath throws. I think he can operate well within structure. I think he makes correct decisions, correct reads. That's not the problem. It's his accuracy. Now, the other weird thing about Cooper Rush is that I think he has good downfield skills, which is quite odd because for a guy that's not very accurate in the short game, I actually think he makes a lot of big-time impactful throws down the field. It's a very weird combination of skills. I also think he's extremely good in the play-action game. In fact, I don't think he's just good. I think he's great in the play-action game. Like, he's genuinely a very good quarterback when he's in play-action. Some of that may have to do with the Cowboys' running attack and with the Kellen Moore offense. But watching him in play-action, I'm genuinely very impressed. I think that's where he makes most of his damage. I think he genuinely does a good job extending plays. Again, he makes a lot of big-time throws down the field, but it's mainly his accuracy. Like, it is a real problem. Now, some people may be asking, well, why have they won so many games if you're not going to give all the credit to Cooper Rush? And it's not as simple as one answer. But in general, I think the Cowboys have a very skilled roster. They have a very good offensive They have very good offensive personnel. They have very good defensive personnel. And I think that's kind of where this whole thing starts, is they have a phenomenal defense. They have allowed 13 points per game since Cooper Rush has taken over. They are winning the turnover battle. Again, Rush is not some guy that's going to turn the ball over a ton. Now, with that being said, he does have an occasional turnover-worthy throw. He does make the occasional bad decision. He has not thrown an interception yet, but he actually has had multiple interceptions negated due to penalties. Not going to hold that necessarily that much against him, but again, it's like looking at the raw numbers is not going to tell the whole story. He's not a perfect quarterback. He doesn't always make the right decision. I think that's a skill of his to not turn the ball over, but again, he's not perfect. But the Cowboys are winning the turnover battle. Their rushing offense is averaging 127 yards a game, but their offense is only averaging 22.5 points per game. That's not horrible, but when your defense is only allowing 13 a game, that's normally a recipe for success. I think this Rams game, if you watch this past Rams game, that's really the perfect example of what Cooper Rush is. He did almost nothing in the game. He completed 10 passes for about 100 yards, and their defense and special teams had a couple of touchdowns. Like, they're surviving with Cooper Rush, and I've seen some analysts say that they should stick with Cooper Rush, and they are winning a lot of games, but in reality, I don't think he's really doing all that much. But some overall takeaways here. I think he is a good backup quarterback with limited physical traits and a low ceiling. I think he can keep you in a game. He is good playing in structure. That's the main reason why he'll keep you in the game, because he can execute the offense in front of him. But I don't think you're going to win a game because of him. He doesn't have a particularly good arm. He's serviceable in the mobility aspect. He's not like some Tom Brady statue or anything. He's not like a Drew Brees. He doesn't have the same pocket manipulation as those guys. That's not why I'm comparing them. I'm just saying he's not mobile like them. But he's certainly not a statue like that, but he's not some Lamar Jackson. I think he's somewhere in the middle. And I think a good comp for him is actually a Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what he kind of reminded me of. Obviously, he's not as good as Garoppolo, but certainly that's what his play style reminds me of. I think he does I actually think he does a good job handling pressure. He does not take too many sacks, which is a positive trait. There are a lot of starters in the league who take a lot of sacks. I don't think he necessarily does that. When he's on play action, like, he's genuinely really, really good. When he's not on play action, I don't think he's very good at all, which kind of tells me he's that classic backup system quarterback. Despite his inaccuracy, which is a real issue, I think he does a really good job making big impact throws down the field, which is kind of a surprise to me, especially off of play action passes. He does a really, really good job of that. And overall, I think he does a good job playing within structure. He can execute the offense, and he's a good backup quarterback. So should he get an opportunity to start somewhere else? I personally would not hand him the keys. That's not to say that no team is going to give him a chance, but I personally, if I'm running a team, I would not put much faith into him as a starter. The rest of the year, as soon as Dak Prescott comes back, he should be the starter, no questions at all. But if you're asking if you need a quarterback, would you potentially start Cooper Rush? I would probably not start him. He would really have to turn something around. He certainly has some positive aspects to his game, but I really don't see him ever becoming a franchise quarterback. So let me know your thoughts down below. This is a really intriguing topic, I think. I see some people talking about it now, so I figured that this is a good time. Dak should be coming back either next week or the following week, so we'll see how good he looks. And if he looks bad, maybe Rush is better than I thought. But certainly let me know thoughts on the video. If you have any thoughts of your own about the situation, how good do you think he is? And I think most importantly, should he get a shot to start somewhere else? Because that's mainly what like this is about. He's certainly not going to start for the Cowboys long term, but he's certainly exceeded expectations. So let me all that down below. Like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next one.